Welcome back to Doc's Hot Shop and Forge. So in the last video we saw the difficulties in welding small components together. So part of that was I didn't have a hammer that would reach cleanly into those spaces and concentrate the force in a controlled way. The ball peen was too big, the cross peen was too pointy and odd angles. So what I really need is either a very fine ball peen or a special purpose hammer. So what I've decided to do is actually make a small hammer. Now this will probably weigh 120 to 130 grams, so maybe it's going to be a small hammer. What I have here is a small piece of 1045. It's an old bit of rock drill, which I've previously used and hardens really well. I've marked where I want to punch the eye. So let's get the forge hot, let's have some fun. This should be a relatively simple short project. Essentially the face I'm going to leave more or less as is. It's mostly about punching the eye and drawing out the peen, which will be sort of like a long, almost pick-like, but with a ball end. So I'm hoping to get maybe about 5 centimeters worth, and leave the end about 10 millimeters in diameter, give or take a little bit, so around that ½ inch mark. For those wondering, this is 1 inch hex, so 25 millimeters, and I have almost just a shade over 2 inches, so 60 odd centimeters, 60 odd millimeters in length. So, like I said, let's have some fun. That hot again. of using a slitting punch is you don't actually lose any mass because you end up actually cutting the hole, not punching the hole so much. The aim is to get it just wide enough that we can get our actual punch in there, our drift in there, so we can do the eye properly. I re-ground and tidied it up. It's almost time to replace this one. It started out about that long. It's taken a couple of years, but it's worn down. You lose some to dressing the end and whatnot all the time. Now we're just a little bit off center. Almost. Just need a little bit more on that side. Too much further, I want to start drawing out the peen. So I'm going to do one last drifting, and then I'm going to move over to the fly press, and we'll start doing the insets for the peen. So we'll start fullering in, and we'll see how we go with that. I don't want to get too far into the eye because the risk is with doing the peen now is that you start, once you've got the eye fully formed, is that you pinch the eye and then you end up with a potential crack when you heat treat. This is more about maintaining eye geometry. Close to the edge. Too close. little bit. We're just going to work on drawing the bean out a bit. Too bad. There will be some grinding to be done. Just wondering if this gives us like a better run at things. Now that we've got the bulk of the drawing out done, we're going to work on the eye. So we'll be setting the drift in the swatch block and then bringing it up to the anvil to draw out the eye a little bit, so we get a bit more surface area. We don't really need it, it's a small hammer, but it's a good thing to have. So let's see if that's hot. Let's see if that's hot enough so we can actually do that. Kind of wish some smaller holes in that. going to do is put the drift in, lay it face up, and then we're going to fuller in where we want that swoop to be deeper, and hopefully having the drift in there will protect the eye, and then we can straighten out the peen afterwards. And we'll give it a good brushing, flatten the cheeks, and touch mark it, and give it its serial number, which is 21. Alright, don't know if this is going to work. Help if I put Alright, we just got to straighten. That actually worked. So now we just need to straighten the peen out because it bent a bit. Okay. Time to touch mark it. There's a hole in my glove. Dare I? Okay, that too just does not like me. That a little bit, and into the annealing bucket it goes. So, it's been a few hours. The thing's still slightly warm, ever so slightly warm, but it's cooled off. It's come up quite nicely. The forging's quite clean, it's quite smooth. I do have some fish lipping at this end. A little bit at this end, but I was expecting that. A little bit disappointed about that because it means I don't have that hole to use as I wanted, because that fish lipping will take it down to about there, which leaves us almost nothing, which is really frustrating. But anyway, it's, how much is it? It is just on the 10mm marks. It's just slightly over, so it's roughly where we aimed for. With a little bit of grinding, it'll end up pretty much exactly where we were aiming. You've watched me grind and dress hammers before, handle hammers, hang hammers on handles and so on, so I won't go through that for this one. The next video using this or showing this hammer will be of it in use to make a London pattern anvil, so we're going to have another go at it. So look out for that. It'll be sometime in the next couple of videos. I do have a couple of other projects on the go at the moment, mostly lathe related. I'm going to try and keep the lathe videos to maybe one a month, so so as to not detract from the channel too much. But it is one of the important projects happening in the workshop at the moment. So I think